And this afternoon, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has launched a full-scale investigation into what it says is the suspected corruption-related offences in the auction of vehicles and other goods by the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. This is contained in a press statement signed by the Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ejabing. On your screens right now is a copy of that statement bringing you explanations as to why the OSP is taking such an action. It states that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has commenced investigations into suspected corruption and corruption-related offences in respect of auction sales of vehicles and other goods by the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority between July 1, 2016 and August 15, 2022. On the 19th of August 2022, the Special Prosecutor directed the Commissioner of the Customs Division to produce the following to the Office of the Special Prosecutor on or before the 30th of September 2022. Let's list them for you. The first one has got to do with particulars and clear description of all auctioned items. The next one has got to do with the quantity of all auctioned items and the prices at which the items were auctioned. The Special Prosecutor is equally asking for the date of each auction sales, the full names, addresses, and telephone numbers of the successful bidders at all the auction sales. The Special Prosecutor further directed the Commissioner of the Customs Division to immediately halt and discontinue all auction sales till the investigation is concluded. So that's the directive coming through from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We know that it's coming on the heels of recent findings by the OSP, which indicted frozen food company La Bianca. The Special Prosecutor found some shortfalls in import duties the company was supposed to have paid to the state. We do know that the Special Prosecutor's interest in the Customs Division is not going down well with the Commissioner General, Colonel Kojo Damwa, retired, who insists that there is some sort of malice on the part of the Special Prosecutor.
Since 3 days ago, what has been happening? A report purporting or coming from the Office of the Special Prosecutor trying to indict the Deputy Commissioner of Operations and myself. And anybody who has read that report very well will know the basis of that. And luckily for me, God is always on my side. Before that report came, that person had made a statement to some people who had come to them. He was going to publish something that will discredit me, and he will do that. And I even sent people to go and tell him that he's a small boy. I'm older than him. I have lived a meaningful life. If he attempts to destroy me, it won't be easy for him. People have tried it. I have survived. And this one too, I'll survive. All that happened. One of the reasons was because of Mr. Akurugu. He wanted Mr. Akurugu to be seconded to his office, and I said no. Mr. Akurugu is a customs officer, primarily employed to do customs work. And he is to partner Mr. Akutofachin in that office, African Continental Free Trade Area. He deals with tariffs and valuation. And therefore, I cannot second him to the Office of the Special Prosecutor because he has a primary role to play in customs. And then he comes back through the Commissioner General. And again, I said, I insist, and we'll go by that he has a primary role. It is when I don't have a role for him, or I can dispense of his services, I have others to do what he's going to do, that I will give him to you. So I insist. And he calls me to his office when in relation to La Bianca. And at the end of it, he talks to me about this same matter. And I said, yes, it is not the Commissioner General. I wrote it. Go and check it. And I have my reasons. He will not be released to you. He will be in customs. And then behind me, he goes to resign. He's given the position of Commissioner of Police a rank, and he's now with your office. And he goes to make allegations that Mr. Duce and myself, we hit him, and they will deal with us. So that is it. That is the basis of that publication. But if you read it very well, there's nothing in it. It's hollow. It's actuated by malice. And those who are behind it, they know themselves. They know themselves. They've tried it several times. It is not working, and it won't work. I'm ready for any prosecution. That's what he must do. Not to say that they should do further investigations up to 2017. Up to 2015, I have letters written by Deputy Commissioner Demis Agavo granting similar things. and I produced them when he called me. He didn't have the letters, but I had the letters. My predecessor, Mr. Crenson, had those letters. This is common practice in customs. If you want to remove me, I have no problems. I won't be Commissioner of Customs forever. I'm ready to go, but don't disgrace me.
By Section 12 of our law, the same Customs Act gives advance ruling. And the import of advance ruling is that someone who is bringing in goods can come and see Customs and say that I'm bringing this type of item, this quantity, and these are my values that the supplier wants to give to me to be able to buy. But I want to come and sit with you so that you reduce the value for purposes of application of the duty rate, the taxes that I'm going to pay. So let's say the supplier is prepared to give the item at $1,000, right? Because he's buying more, the supplier may give it even with a discount. Then he comes to say that, look, every month I'm going to buy so much, at least 200 containers of this item. And because Customs is going to get reliable, sustainable source of revenue, can you now look at my value and reduce it, give me some discount? That is what the advance ruling talks about. La Bianca took advantage of this provision in the law and wrote to Customs that they are supplying frozen food items. That each month, at least, they supply 200 containers. And for that, me as the commissioner, if you have one importer who gives you revenue regularly, sustainably.
Well, so that's the reaction from Colonel Damois on this. We do know that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has made his decisions known. Let's now speak to Frank Atanle Kofiga, who is the Executive Secretary of the Vehicles and Asset Dealers Union. Frank, so what's your reaction to the decision by the OSP?
I think that the OSP's reaction towards investigating this is a good call. I'm not so sure how long backdating the investigation can take, because there's quite a backlog of auction sales that have gone on over the year. So the question is, from where are they going to start? I think that has it made. I think it's going to probably curb the inappropriate sale of vehicles at the port and people taking advantage of other people's inability to pay duties and then take their vehicles. So I think it's a good call. The OSP should try as much as possible to go to the lengths that he can.
Kofi, it appears we're having some challenges getting to you. We would re-establish the lines and continue with the conversation. Adam Senano is also co-chair for the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Adam, if you're with us, the OSP making his decision very clear to us now. But it appears that there's a case of fixation. Why we have the OSP going back to the very same institution which is already being investigated for some other issues relating to underhand dealings, supposedly at the ports. Well, we'll try and raise Adam Senano for you shortly. But once more, let's tell you about the demands from the Office of the Special Prosecutor, as we do have it on your screens right now, demanding a raft of issues. The OSP is asking the Customs General to provide the list of items on your screens right now. First of all, the issue about the particulars and clear description of all auctioned items, the quantity of all auctioned items as well, the prices at which the items were auctioned, the date for each of the auction sales, the full names, addresses, and telephone numbers of the successful bidders at all the auction sales. And we do know that for now, the OSP has directed the Commissioner of the Customs Division to immediately halt and discontinue all auctions. Frank is back on phone with us. Frank, so you were talking about the fact that for you as the business community, you are welcoming this decision.
Yes, we're welcoming this decision with a lot of joy, because then it won't unearth what our frustration has been over the years and how uneasy we are or we feel often when it comes to the auction of our vehicles, often for peanuts, okay, to people who didn't go through the rigorous process of importing it, paying for the freight and or getting it here. And the most frustrating part is when you're not able to raise the money to pay, but then it's given to somebody who has gotten a white paper or a cheat, or whatever they call it, to purchase the vehicle, sometimes 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and they are not. Okay, and all I would say, they do not pay the required duties that you were charged. So I think it's a welcoming news. All we can say is that we support the OSP in its entirety to do this. With what has actually brought up this, we as a business community, we are not, it's not part of our business. Their power play falls within their own remit. For us, the procedural conduct of our customers is so important for some officials, and people are taking due advantage of this particular auctioning process and the 90-day period to actually take from importers and
let's bring in Adam Sanano at this point. It appears we're having challenges with the lines to Frank. Adam, for you, the OSP has made its decision very clear now. But I was asking the issue about fixation, which the OSP appears to be engaged in, or perhaps would you say that we're misdiagnosing the situation? Kindly unmute for me, Adam.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right. So I was saying that I don't think that's a fixation. I think it's just a normal course of what we call iteration. It's iterative because you do an initial research based on a request by, was it Francis Asari or whatever, and it throws up a certain set of information, and based on that, you realize you must delve deeper. So I think it's a natural course that he's taken, that he's now expanding the investigation to look at other areas of customs.
Knowing that the OSP is already dealing with some issues at the port, is this not too much for the OSP to bear this time?
Not necessarily. That would rather, as it were, help concentrate his efforts. He will have his staff in the same space. The linkages between one unit of customs and the next, he can explore all the angles and the issues that have been thrown up. I think that it makes a lot of logical sense to focus and do a good, if it were, so to speak, house cleaning at this moment, throwing up anything that ought to be dealt with, resolving them before he moves on. So I think it's a matter of course. This was likely to happen, and we are happy that he's taking that extra look at customs.
But then the directive is mostly to the customs division, and we've seen in recent days that back and forth between the customs division boss and the OSP. Could this not degenerate?
Not really. I mean, as far as the law is concerned, the special prosecutor has much more power and authority to deal with these matters. There was never a point at which there was doubt in the minds of civil society that this wasn't going to be a battle that the customs division of GRA could win, because the law gives the special prosecutor the authority to look into matters at the law level, at the policy level, at the administrative level, as far as it's a public sector issue and there's any relation to corruption. So I don't see this degenerating to any kind of battle. I think that the facts will speak for themselves as long as the investigation shows. If you take it at the moment, he's asked the customs director to provide information over the past few years. That information is what's going to become the basis of whatever conclusions are drawn.
Could it be the case that the OSP feels, well, when we're looking at the majority of cases of corruption, it's mostly happening at the Ghana Revenue Authority?
It could, yes, it could well be that the number of people writing to the OSP saying that there are things happening, please be an eye on this, have increased. I mean, typically, having heard that look, there was a La Bianca case. What will happen is that anybody else who's been dissatisfied with something or feels like, Mr. Special Prosecutor, don't move before you've dealt with all the issues properly, we'll probably be writing back. I know that Francis Asari himself said he didn't think that the OSP had done a good job because there were other angles that ought to have been taken on board. So I'm not too surprised. I actually expect that many more citizens, patriotic and well-meaning, may be highlighting issues and bringing evidence to the OSP for him to look at these matters a lot more closely.
Well, the OSP's predecessor, Martin Amidu, has been speaking about his approach and decision to always put out information to the public as to what it is that he has been up to. For Martin Amidu, the issue could tarnish the image of persons who are being investigated as though they are culpable of a particular offense even before the conclusion comes through from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. You agree with him?
We appeal to Martin to allow his legacy to stand the test of time. I think these are petty issues. Look, we're dissatisfied when we're not getting enough information from him when he was Special Prosecutor. So he should keep that in mind. We're not happy that 6 months, nothing, no action. Now we have a Special Prosecutor who is giving us results, who is keeping the information flow, which is what we expected of him. So let's not kid ourselves. What Mr. Kesi Ajabeng is doing at the moment, keeping us informed, is exactly what we wanted. Because in our minds, if he faces any challenges and we think that government or some other part is undermining the progress of the OSP, all of us as civil society would then stand up and say, no, this is not right. In Martin's case, by the time he was telling us his difficulties, it was much too late. And then when he said he was resigning, many of us were extremely disappointed in the context of the authority that the law gives him. We felt that he could have done much, much better considering what that law provides for him to do. So we don't want to be hearing from Mr. Martin Amidu at this point on this issue. The OSP is doing what we expect. We are expecting even much more, and let's allow him to get the work done.
And for you as anti-graft campaigners, is this a vote of confidence in the Office of the Special Prosecutor that at least he's doing some clawback?
Well, at least for now, it is a vote of confidence. We even think that government ought to be giving him much more resources. I'm concerned that there are many other issues that he ought to be deploying personnel to be catering for. I don't think he's being given enough resources to be able to make sure that the human resources and then the other logistics in terms of equipment is available. So we are not just saying that he's doing something good. We are saying that government give him much more resources so that we can have many more cases being dealt with simultaneously.
Adam Zenano, thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. Well,